In this video, we're going to quickly go over 4 different types of conflict that show up in almost any story you've ever read in your entire life or will ever read. Almost any problem that ever happens in any story ever could fall into one of 4 categories. And here they are. First one we call character versus character. An older way in life, or like in the history of referring to this, people might say like man versus man. But that's kind of sexist language, so I'm not into that. We're going to say character versus character. And this is when like there's a good guy and a bad guy, which is also, I guess, sexist language. Good character and a bad character. This is a character struggling directly against another character. An example of this, like one of my favorite movies, Kill Bill. This like character whose name shall not be mentioned because it isn't in the movie for a long time, has to go through and kill all these other bad characters. So it's character struggle the entire time. Ultimately, her goal is to kill this guy, Bill. So it's a lot of character the entire way, and then there's a big character struggle. The other type, character versus nature. This is like a man versus wild, like Bear Grylls show, where like someone has to survive nature. Another thing that comes up with this is like zombie apocalypse movies, or like a disease outbreak movie, where something in nature has created something that the characters must struggle against. And whatever they're struggling against isn't really another character. Like a character versus a bear, like unless you get to like know that bear and know what that bear does every night when it goes home to its little bear den and it reads its little bear newspaper, like that might be character. But like in most stories, if it's like there's a bear threatening a person, it's character versus nature, because just like the person's what we're concerned with, and the bear is just like part of nature threatening it. Unless that bear is like a robot created by someone else, and then it's a totally different thing. Character has to overcome a natural challenge. So character self, this one is also called internal, where a character struggles with like a decision or struggles with a choice throughout the text. In one example, I thought of like Fault in Our Stars, where the main character has like cancer and she knows, like in her mind, she says she's a ticking time bomb. And so she thinks that if she gets close to anybody, she'll hurt them because she might die at some point. So she has this big struggle in her, like with herself, like should she get close to other people because she feels bad about that idea. That's an internal struggle. Character versus society is our 4th type. Character versus society is when anytime you have a character who's doing something different than what almost everybody else is doing, when they're going against the grain. Napoleon Dynamite is a great example. Napoleon Dynamite is just kind of this dude who's kind of weird at his school, and everybody else doesn't really accept him for who he is, and his struggle the entire story is just to get people to accept him for being who he is without changing anything about himself. In The Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen stands up to like the government. Overall, the Hunger Games stories, that's a character versus society conflict, because Katniss Everdeen is trying to struggle against everything in her society that's been built up. She's not fighting every last person in her society, but overall, the mainstream of her society, she's going against that and trying to do something different. So as a final note, with those 4 types in mind, most every story has more than one type of conflict. Almost every story has more than one type. Most books, like most literary books, most pieces of literature, a book that we think is literature, probably has all 4 show up a bunch of times. However, most every story has one main type of conflict. And for us, this is the key. This is where we start. We have to start after we finish reading a text, or finish viewing a text, or whatever that text is. The first thing we do to analyze that is really sit there and figure out what is the main type of conflict. Is it character? Is it character nature? Is it character self? Or is it character society? Which one of those would I pick as the main type of conflict? And once you've decided that, then you're ready to go on and analyze the rest of the text. So those are your 4 different types of conflict. I'll also post a link to this PowerPoint below this video so you can go review it later.